Well, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually.
Me too.
Well, I'm Dr. Dana,
Oh, I'm Laura. Sorry.
and this is Business Besties in Branson. And what I love so much already is that we didn't even turn on the microphones or anything. We just started talking. Like from the
Yeah.
minute I walked in the door, we just talk. And
Yeah.
then, hey, look, it's like an hour has passed. Oh, you want to turn this stuff on? Because that's what we do.
I know. And it's like we're always, I don't know, it's like every time we meet, which is every week.
Yes.
Like literally something has happened in one of our lives and something has just popped up that we're like, listen to this.
Right.
And it's always amazing to me, things that are put into our path. And I always call them God things because I'm like, I just
Absolutely.
know this is not of me.
No.
You know,
And this many coincidences in your life does not happen.
No,
You know,
it doesn't.
It's a God thing.
It doesn't. And I know like the thing right now is you can manifest everything. I don't really understand what that means. I mean,
Right.
all I know is that I'm open to what God is going to give me, and I'm going to walk and open any door that presents itself and either keep going or not, or I don't know. I'm not sure what this whole manifest thing is supposed to look like. I believe in the vision boards.
Yes.
Because I do believe that when we have a goal, a vision, like this is what I really want, but I do believe it's inspired by God. Like God,
I
I don't
agree.
think God would give us these visions that were so far out there. Like I'm going to marry a prince in another land and be a queen. No, okay, that is not on my vision board.
Right. Me
Never
either.
going to happen. And
Though the money might be good, but
I don't know. I don't think I could do it. But the things that we do have visions for, and then
Right.
it's just amazing how literally things just pop into place
they do.
as we keep on trucking.
They do. And that it has to be God, right?
Yeah.
Because he is guiding our business. And even in things that you think, God, what are you doing? Like I ask him that all the time. And sometimes in a very angry voice, like when I left education,
Yeah.
like, God, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
And he just hold on. You're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. And now I'm like, dang, we should have done this like a few years earlier. I'd have been gone, right?
Right.
But you don't know.
No.
You don't know what you
No.
don't know.
That's
but
right.
God does know.
Yeah, he does.
He knows the whole plan. He knows the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even when we talked about in business, like know your exit strategy, know what you're going to do at the end. And we're like, wait a minute, there's an end to this? I just thought we'd keep doing this till we die, right?
That's how it feels.
it does. It does. But God does know. He knows
Yeah.
the end, right? And he
Yeah.
knows how it's gonna play out. And he says, just hold on,
Yeah.
And if we could learn to do that, just okay, God, hands up, let's do this.
That just made me think about because the exit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the exit strategy that you started doing long before me, because I just started the process, was getting the trust set up because it allows your business to continue without all of the things that go on legally because of it's in a trust.
That's correct.
And
yeah.
we're at that same point of we're starting all that process to do that. And, when you think about it, that is God preparing us for the exit.
It is.
Like, okay, there is going to be an exit. Let's
Right.
get your ducks in a row now.
Right.
Because all the hard work that you've put in doesn't have to end when you decide you're done.
No,
It can continue.
absolutely it can. And somebody can take it over and somebody can do something with it. But if you don't have it in a trust and you don't take care of it, it will end.
It will end.
And it'll be a mess.
Yeah.
And then it'll be forgotten.
Yeah. So how gracious is God to open that door to say, hey, there is going to be an end, but all this hard work is not for nothing. It's not for nothing. So that's very nice.
It is. I agree with the trust because we did a trust first, and then as we were doing the business, like, well, we want to make sure the business is in on this trust, which is again have a good team, right? And one of our team members is an excellent attorney,
Sure,
right? So that you can talk to your attorney about anything, personal, business, same attorney, And if they can't do it, they'll refer you. Like, okay, look, I don't do this, but so and so will help you.
We have got to get her on the podcast to talk about this.
Anna, yes.
Yes, because you talk about a wealth of knowledge. Just, tell women how we need to do this because we want to protect our assets. We want to protect all this hard work that we've done. What do we need to do?
I think that would be an excellent one.
Oh, I think so
let's
too.
talk to her on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because that's also something that, we would have never known about a 501c3.
Yes.
Unless Jen came in and talked to us.
Exactly.
And then we started working on it and doing it.
Yeah.
We have always, as the Rogue Chef, put away $1 for every Miss Emma's mac and cheese. Everyone that we sell, we put $1 away. And we just put it in another savings account, right? But that's for Emma, right? So
Yeah.
if she needs money for medical care or trips for medical care or whatever it is, like we wanted to help that. So then as Jen's talking about a 501c3, I'm like, yeah, that could be a non-for-profit. We've already established what
Sure.
we're doing, right? So now let's just make it legal,
Yeah.
right? Let's make it,
Yeah.
not that we're doing anything illegal, but let's make it for real.
Well, not only that, but look at the impact you can have
Absolutely.
for people who have hearing impairment. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful.
It actually worked out. Emma's struggling a little bit in school with other kids. Don't know why she's wearing a headband, and one of the kids actually took her headband, and it's her hearing aid. So,
Oh, shoot.
So I said, wait a minute, couldn't Miss Emma's Foundation come in and talk about, how it feels to hear with one ear and what this band is and why the teacher wears a microphone and all of these things? Because as a former teacher, I know that teachers can't tell the class because that's a HIPAA violation,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So, but a non-for-profit could come into a school
Sure.
and talk about being hearing impaired.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, holy cow, God, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this, God, right? But they're not going to let some grandma come in and just talk about their,
Right.
But a non-for-profit can come in and educate because that's the purpose of my non-for-profit, right?
So awesome.
And I'm like, holy cow, God, look at this. You got this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do that myself.
No.
I didn't know anything about it,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Neither one of us really knew
No.
much about not-for-profits.
I just knew they were tax exempt. That's all I knew. I didn't know all the other stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that goes with it.
Oh, it is.
You need an attorney.
Yes, get an attorney. Get an attorney.
Get Anna.
Right. And an accountant.
Yes.
Because I think both of those help immensely,
Oh, yeah.
which is part of, finding your dream and following it. You can't do it all.
No, you can't. And I think taking that business class at the chamber was just, that's what you heard over and over again. Attorney, accountant, attorney, accountant, attorney.
did.
Because when you set out to have a business, you want to be professional.
Right.
You don't, like you say, you don't know what you don't know.
That's it.
They do know what you don't know.
That's it.
And they are going to have your back. And yes, it's money up front, but it's money well spent. And it's going to set a really firm foundation for your business.
I agree. And even things that I thought I knew, like as Anna and I were filling out something, I'm like, oh, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, what? You want to do that? And I'm like, yeah, didn't I say that confidently? Like I know what I'm talking about, She said, yeah, you did, but, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you're the attorney. Then please, let's do it your way. And she says, if you I'll put it on that application like that, but it's going to get denied automatically. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Right?
Yeah.
So where I was trying to educate myself, trying to fill out the application myself, trying to do it because I just do it myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized, oh, Dana, you don't know everything because you don't do them all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Get somebody who does.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Well, one of the things that we did with her, she said, you need to have your articles of organization different. I'm like, okay. She goes, it's no big deal. I'm like, no big deal. Like, what do I do? And she's like, you want me to do it? And I'm like, yes, because already I screwed it up from the very beginning. I don't even know how to correct it. I don't even know what forms, who, where, what, when, how. And she's like, I got it. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
And she charged me $100
Wow.
to do something that, how long would it have taken me if I did it wrong? And I still had to pay all the fees to do it. I'm like, $100 very well spent, and it's done right.
Absolutely.
Ended.
Yep.
Gosh, yes.
And it's not just the money, it's the time.
It's the time.
Think about how much time you've already researched. You've searched on Google 100 times. Like, how do I start a 501c3? How do I do this? How do I do that? And there's so much information out there. You cannot decipher what's what.
No, and I've decided with my new little clinic, I'm from the get-go, attorney, CPA. Like, I'm not even going to mess with it. I will just pay someone to help me set it up, do the budget, whatever I need. You just help me because, and that's going to be Jen.
Right.
Like, okay, we have to have board meeting minutes. Okay, tell us how we're going to do that. She knows how to do all that. I will just pay her. You can help me, and we do what we need to do legally. And
That's
okay, great. So,
because then you're not worrying about that part of your business because it's fine. Everything's fine,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
I mean, who wants to be in business and 6 months down the road, you get a letter from the IRS saying, hey, this isn't right. We're going to have to stop your business. And
right.
oh my gosh, how devastating would that be?
Well, absolutely. And
yeah.
most people who want to start a business don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Like, can I just start in my backyard, in my house, in my
Yeah.
car, like what,
Yeah.
so I think
I
talking
know.
with an attorney will help.
It will. And so with this morning, this wraps right back to what we were talking about. Like, don't just dream it.
That's it.
Do it. How, he had a saying how you
Yeah,
said
it's actually on my vision board, so I see
Okay.
it every morning. It says, "Stop dreaming and start doing."
Start doing.
Right? Because I got dreams. Went to
Yeah.
Vegas and learned so much more. So now I'm like, I want to do, I want to do, I want to do.
Yeah.
But then I got to do, because sometimes I get wrapped up in the dreaming
Yeah.
and what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Which I think is why we need these vision boards.
I agree.
Because if it's right in front of you, boom, like
That's it.
this is what I have to do.
That's
this
it.
is what I have to
And
do.
I don't, and I think maybe that comes to your manifestation, where people are like, I manifested this. Well, if I would say that, right? If I say like, well, I keep saying I'm going to stop dreaming and start doing. I'm going to
Right.
stop dreaming. Every day I say that, right? So now what am I giving that credit? Because I'm actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
So is it because I said it every morning? I manifested it? Is it because God heard my prayers? Because our prayers aren't always like, get on your knees, fold your hands, pray, dear God, listen, right? Like I talk to God all day long.
All
like,
the time.
did you hear me? I'm going to stop dreaming, start doing. So let's get doing. What do you want me to do? What's my next step?
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then God opens these doors and sometimes he opens doors and I'm like, man, not going through that one. And he's like, oh yeah, you are. Right. Right. I know. But then after you're through the door, you're like, oh yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
Give me another door.
Yeah.
I've got this.
Yeah.
Right. I can do this, but I can't do it alone.
No.
Right.
Mm-mm.
No. I
No.
need a team of people and I also need God backing me up.
I think, I know for me, God and I have just a continual conversation. It's like all day long, like in my head, a running thing. And I talk to God all the time. And, then I feel bad sometimes. I'm like, ugh, he doesn't want to hear all this,
Right.
But I'm like, but thank you, God, that you're gracious and you put up with me and you still love me.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is, okay, thank you, God. Or, I mean, even simple little things like, you like a near miss of, oh, if I had to put that note somewhere else, I would have missed that. Thank you, Lord, for bringing that to the forefront and remind me. Just those constant conversation.
That's it. Exactly.
So, yeah, I think for me, that's more of what my prayer life is like. It's not just a formal whatever. It's more of it just never stops.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I always see it as, we're God's children, right? And when my son calls me, I'm like, hello, hey, how are you doing? What's going on in your day?
Yeah.
And I want to hear from him,
Yeah.
And so I want to talk to him. And I think that that's how God feels with us too. Like, talk to me. Right?
Yeah.
Talk to me. And then if we stop talking for just a little bit and listen, he talks to us.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And he helps clear our head sometimes where I'm like, oh, yeah, now I see.
Mhm.
Right?
I know. Yes.
I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do.
And that's what we have to do. Like take times to take a walk, right?
Yeah.
Stop doing what we're doing because we're getting overwhelmed with that doing. And take a walk. Talk to God. Listen to what he has to say.
So we were talking this morning about a friend who has a lot of anxiety. And we're like, how can we help her?
Yeah.
And I think there's two ways to look at it. One, sometimes we want to help people, but they don't want the help.
Right.
Other times we need help, and then people want to help, and using those resources when they're out there.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. That was a really good conversation for me personally, just because I'm like, there are a lot of resources. We do want to help people. I mean, this is why we're here.
That's it exactly.
Okay, we did it for ourselves too because we wanted to learn from other people.
Right.
But in the other sense, it's not selfish at all. We come here every week and we broadcast it. We don't get paid. We're actually spending money to do all of this. And so, but we do
money and time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And time is money.
Absolutely.
In fact, time's more valuable than money. But we just have a real desire to teach other people, hey, this is what other people are doing, and what can we gain from that?
Right. And how can we help you get started earlier in life and on some, solid foundation? Like when you're 25 or 30, like know what we know now after 50 and where we're like grabbing at time. You got time, right?
Yeah.
So let's get it right. Let's do it. And we're here to help.
Yeah.
And that's it. There are people willing to help you. You need to find them. And if you can't find them, find people who are willing to help you find those people, right?
Yeah.
Because they are out there.
Yeah.
They are. And we were talking about especially our small community, that we have so many wonderful small business owners.
Oh my gosh. It is crazy. You just have to go to a Hollister Chamber luncheon
That's it.
to know how many people truly have your back. You could literally go up to so many people and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you need help with?
Right.
I mean, they would just ask you, what can I do to help you?
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
And I believe if you walked into any chamber, member or not, and you said, I need help, they would help you.
They would help you.
They would absolutely help you. Now, granted, they'd say, if you're a member, this is also how we can help you.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
But they would help right away.
Yeah.
And chamber memberships, some of them are expensive, but some of them are not expensive for what you get.
No, the Hollister Chamber is $250 a year.
Yeah.
Holy cow, we get a lot out of that. And we get,
Absolutely.
is it two, they send out service announcements a year?
Yeah, member service announcements.
Yeah. So, you talk about hundreds of people are getting this beautiful,
That's it.
whatever you want to tell them.
An ad. Yeah,
it's an
anything you want
ad.
to say. Yep.
All these people. And I don't know about you, but I actually look at them.
I do too.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I want to go see this show because it's a, area appreciation or I want to do this or that. So I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I do too. So, yeah, what a great thing. So how do we get to doing instead of just dreaming? What does that look like?
I think it looks different for every single person, right? Because your doing might be different, right? My doing every morning is getting my social media done, and sometimes I put it off because I have email to do, or I have menus to write, or I have, recipes to find and get to the newspaper. And so I have so many things that I have to do that sometimes I get lost in that doing that my dream is drifting away. And I'm like, I want time for that, right?
Right.
Because we talked about this book, we want to
we're
write a book.
back to the same book again, this AI book.
Right.
What the heck? And we can do this.
Absolutely. Did you find any time this week to do it?
No.
No, me either.
No, but that being said, I have been working on the social media side of things.
Good job.
As far as doing stuff, which is not. There's a definite learning curve.
Absolutely.
There is a learning curve, and I'd made my whole ad. My goal is to post 3 times a week for each of my things. That's a lot. That's a lot for me. I know you post probably 3 times a day, but for me, I'm okay, if I could do this. So yesterday I had my whole Canva thing laid out, and then Whitmore comes along. He's like, if you put a video of yourself talking before that, and I'm like, okay, so how do I do it? So he walks me through it. Now I'm like, so now I have this video. Now I have this ad. How do I
right?
How do I actually put these together? I don't know. We're at that point now. So I'm like, it's such a learning curve to do it. But I'm like, but the more I do it,
the easier it is.
Yeah, I'll be popping it out.
Absolutely.
So, and I did it all on Canva.
Wow.
I don't know. We'll see how it turns out.
I know, because there's so many different platforms you could use to create. And I was using Instagram from when we went to our class and learned how to make an Instagram and then saving it to my device. And then when I went to Vegas, they said, doesn't matter if you use any of those platforms. Of course, you can save it to your device. Some of them will leave a watermark. Some of them won't. But the platform can track where you created that. Right. So I'm creating one on Instagram. I'm thinking I'm so cool. Look at me. I've got this, right? I'm tracking it, and I put it on my device, and then I put it on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and blah, 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 right? And then they tell me in Vegas, yeah, well, they know that came from Instagram, because it has a language behind the video that you don't know, right? You have no control over.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, dang. Right? Okay. So just when I think I've got it, I've tricked you all, I know what I'm doing,
right?
Somebody comes in and nope, right? So they said, you need to use CapCut. Make your videos on CapCut, right? But then when I make it on CapCut, it automatically says, you want to post this to TikTok? And then I'm like, wait a minute, are you connected to TikTok?
Is that a language?
I know. Is there a language there? Was the speaker being paid by TikTok? Do they get any kickbacks from TikTok?
Oh, wow.
Are they trying to get me to go to CapCut for that reason, right?
Right.
So then I get so caught up in what's going on behind the scenes that I stopped doing anything, right? And then here it is 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I haven't made a post yet.
Oh, shoot.
Right. Jeff's like, well, I'm going to bed. I'm like, well, I have to stay up and get this post done because I know that I want to post at least once a day.
Right.
And where they recommend post 3 or 4 times a day, if you can hit 5 or 6 times a day, that's perfect. I'm like,
I don't even know how someone can do that.
I don't either.
I mean, obviously, if they have a whole team.
Right.
But
that costs money.
Yeah, it costs money.
It does.
Shoot. Okay, so this guy's a little controversial, but some of his videos are really funny on Instagram. Have you ever seen Two Turnt Tony?
I don't think so.
I think that's how it's pronounced. So this guy had he started out on, what's the one where they, like, I'm trying to think, the app where people spend money to see sex pictures of you and all.
Oh, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Yes.
Okay. So he starts on OnlyFans.
Okay.
This guy made so much money, like millions on this. So now he's on Instagram and all this. So the stuff he does on Instagram, there is no nudity. There's none of that. And just to be clear, I never saw his OnlyFans stuff. I saw him from Instagram. So I'm just going to play that out there. But anyways, so I saw him doing some Instagram stuff and I thought, because I was watching him do this and my thought was, he's had to up the game every single time in order to keep people. And then I'm like, how does he do this? Like, is someone following him with a cell phone? I mean, how is this working for him? Because, I mean, I just was like really intrigued. Like, he obviously has something here. He's making millions of dollars. He's going to different platforms now. So the crazy thing is I clicked on his Instagram and started scrolling down, and there was one that he actually had an entire crew. Like, he actually had people, like people, like several people who were doing all of this production. And I'm like, well, this is how he's doing it.
That's it, exactly.
He obviously made enough money, and he's doing it smartly where he hired the people that he knew to do it. And I'm like, this is why I can't compete with Tony.
Right. That is exactly.
I don't have people that I can pay tens of thousands of dollars for their careers to follow me around and do stupid stuff.
No.
So,
no, you don't.
yeah. So it's like, okay, obviously Tony has a lot going on for him. Fantastic. Great for him. He's put in his work.
Right.
How do we do this?
Right. How do we do it?
And like you said, like 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to get my post up.
Right.
Okay. So I don't know. I just keep thinking that something is going to click at some point that we're going to go, oh my gosh, if we do this, this is going to be a game changer. And I don't know what that is.
No, I don't. Well, I don't know, but what I do know is we found lots of game changers here.
Yes.
When we talk to people and we learn from them, it makes our life easier, right? Just learning about the 501c3 that we referenced, like, oh, now we have non-for-profits running with our businesses now. So, and we didn't know about that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that this, the guy who's making millions of dollars on Instagram and TikTok and OnlyFans, like, you don't just pick up the camera one day and like, look at me, whether I'm clothed, cooking, nude, whatever. God help us on that one. But you know what I mean? Like,
people pay not to see you naked.
That's it. Put your clothes back on. Here's $50.
That's right.
That's right. There's a business.
There's a business, yes.
But you don't just start at day one.
No.
And you don't just start at day 60.
No.
And it's not day 90.
Yeah.
And you can go a whole year or 2 years. Ask these people who are making money. We had Satira sitting right here with us, right?
Yes.
And she is Branson famous for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And people know her all over because they listen to her videos. They want to know what she likes in Branson. Yeah. But she says, I don't make much money, right?
Right.
Maybe $100 a month, maybe a little bit to pay this or that.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God.
No.
You're making these videos every day or a few days a week and you're posting them.
But looking at Satira, I didn't realize this. She has a LinkedIn, which I found it the other day because I was referring someone to her to call her for her real estate stuff.
Right.
And I found her on the LinkedIn and it was not under real estate. It was content creator. And I went, that is very interesting because I thought, who knows how that's going to spiral out. And all the stuff that she's done that she hasn't made money, when she starts putting that into her real estate stuff, that is going to make money.
Right.
And maybe not on the social media side of things, but it's going to bring income in. But there was one other thing I wanted to tell you, because last week when you talked about coming back from Vegas and you said, just go live.
Right.
I have to tell you.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, first of all, I went live with my laser engraving.
Right.
Posted it, like, I don't know that anybody saw it, but then this is so funny. I was listening to it and John's talking smack in the background.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, delete. I took it right off my thing. I'm like, I can't have this on there.
Right.
I'm like, all right, John, no smack talking. Okay.
Right.
But then I did it for Branson Cerakote. I went live and I kid you not, like within so many hours, we had hundreds of views on it.
Wow.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
Yes.
So then here's the craziest part. We had a guy walk in. He's local, and he was there's called Forged in Fire. It's a TV show where they make knives.
Right.
He was the season 8 champion of the entire season
my
in
gosh.
Branson. He happens to walk in, and I'm like, we're going live.
Yes.
Because I'm like, hey, guess who just walked in and blah, blah, blah. Again, hundreds of views. And I was able to tag his business, Forged in Fire, which has over 1 million things. And I'm like, you never know. But I would have never in a million years done that unless you had sat there and talked about it and thinking outside of the box and
then showing you.
And
right?
yeah, you showed me how
to.
Oh, yeah, my gosh, I didn't even know how to do it. Are you kidding? I was just like, how do I go live? But again, just doing it.
That's
and
it.
you told me, you said, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it.
Right. Because even though you deleted one, you learned from that, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm going live, John, shut your mouth, right?
Right.
Because now that's what you're going to say every time you go live, right? I did the same thing, learning that. Like we're videoing in the kitchen, and then I listened to like, what is that noise? Oh, the dishwasher's going at the same time. But you don't hear the dishwasher because it's always going, right?
Sure.
You know, at one time, I was so focused on this, and I'm going, and then I listen, like, what is that sound? Oh, it's me chomping my gum in the background because I'm so focused. You don't like, for the love of God.
That's hilarious.
And when you're doing food, like you're done with it. Like you chop it up, you can't unchop it up anymore,
That's right. That's right.
Yes. And I'm like, this is just a dumb little video. I'm not calling Whit to like, can you get my gum sound out of here? I'm just hitting delete, right? Like, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You learn, but you did it.
You did it and you learned.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we're just saying. Like, stop dreaming, start doing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what Tony did.
That's it.
I mean, like he started the same place we started. He probably literally started with his own little cell phone doing something.
Right.
And it's grew into something that he probably never dreamed it would grow into.
That's right.
And here we are doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
We're starting with our cell phone, and who knows? I'm excited about your business, the Rogue Chef, because I see things that you're going to do that
I'm excited about it.
I am blown away by some of your ideas and things. I'm like, wow, and you can do it, and you're going to do it. Like,
yes, I'm going to do it with God's help, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't do it myself, and I actually can't do it without this podcast because we bring in so many people, and it just teaches me what's next.
I know.
And I feel like God is leading these women to our place, you know?
Yes.
Like, and so I say, hey, women out there, come talk to us. Like, we want
Yes.
to hear what you do because we know it's hard. We know it's hard to run a business. Like,
It is.
We've said that so many times.
It is.
So straight up front, boom, it's hard, but it's absolutely worth it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
unequivocally. Think about the alternative. You'd be at school teaching. I'd be working in the hospital, and no,
For
I don't.
what?
I don't want
know.
that. I mean,
And we say, oh, it's a job. You just work, 8 to 2 or 8 to 3 or 8 to 5, whatever. It's not. It's never.
it's never just a job.
No.
You can't walk away from it. You are committed to that so many days a week, so many hours. And then even when you're not working, how many times did you dream about teaching or testing it's even your brain is trying to process it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm making presentations and I'm making plans and I'm grading papers and I'm doing all of this stuff that isn't the 8 to 3 business.
Yeah.
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 But in my own business, I can be 24 hours a day and it's okay with me because it's my business.
It's yours.
I'm growing my business. And I think this is also helping me to say I need help. So I'm reaching out for help. Like, I need somebody to help me with this or that. The first person I ask for help, I'm like, I need this, and this, and this, and this, and that. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, no, wait, I need this, and that, and they're like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, how come this person isn't doing anything? I gave them like 500 things to do.
Right.
Oh, I gave them like 500 things to do.
Yeah. Too much.
Start with one.
Yeah.
Right?
Start with
Because I'm so excited that
Right.
somebody's willing to help me.
Yes.
Yes. And then
Yes.
I'm, okay, Dana, slow down. Like, let's start with one, and then let's see if we can get one done. Like just doing products, like we're trying these new products. So we have salts, right? And then now we have coffee. I'm super excited about it. But if you think about small businesses, they start with one thing.
Yes.
And then they build to the next and the next and the next. Same with social media, same with anything. Start with Facebook, start with whatever you're comfortable, and then build.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I know. Starts with one.
It does. So stop dreaming about it and start
doing it.
Right. You want to make millions of dollars in social media?
Yeah.
You better get started.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to take a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You may have to take your clothes off. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. I know, God. Well, you think about that. Like you see the teacher who made all that money and then she was fired by the school district. I'm like, well, good. Now you're going to make more money doing this and you can spend time with your husband, your kids, your family, whatever.
Oh, her strategy was incredible because I just sat there and watched that news thing, like teacher, whatever. And I'm like, she did that on purpose.
Absolutely.
You know what? Look she got national publicity.
Right.
And now how all these dirty old men like, ooh, she's a naughty teacher.
Right.
You know?
And then they're there.
And
right.
if that's what she wants to do, then that's her prerogative. It's her life.
Right.
I have no time in my life to worry about her life.
I agree,
So,
100%.
Yeah. Just keep scrolling. That's what we tell people. Just keep scrolling. You don't like it, just keep going.
That's it. But actually learn from it too. I think that people feel trapped wherever they are. I know as a teacher, I'm like, I've been here 26 years.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I would always say.
Mm-hmm.
And then God's like, got a different idea for you, girl. And I'm like, whatever. Right. So I don't listen for a long time, you know. And as I look back, I'm like, oh, there you are talking to me. Oh, I remember that conversation we had. Now I get it, you know. And it just takes time. And I really, really, really feel for people who work at the hospital, who work in education.
I feel for them too. I know we had one girl, she's been the charge nurse for a long time, and she's so unhappy. And she makes everybody else miserable. And it's like, why doesn't she just leave? But I think it's that mindset. What is the next step? What am I going to do? This is all I know. And I remember sitting in there in the med room, getting my meds for the day, and they've got the big, we didn't have a Pyxis, we had another thing, and to put in your codes and your fingers to get all these drugs out. And I just sat there doing all that, and I had the conversation with God. I said, God, I don't know how long I can do this. This does not bring me joy.
Right.
And I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do. I've spent a lot to get here.
Right.
Where do I go from here? But doors open.
That's it. Exactly.
That one I got pushed out.
Right. Well, that's it too.
That's it. So
right. Sometimes the door opens and they got kicks you in the butt, and you're like falling through the door,
you're like,
and
here we go.
Yeah, you find yourself like, hold on, let me get up a minute. Like, what are we doing? You know. And God's like, just hold on. You're going to be happy I just pushed you through this door.
That's right.
And I am, you know, and
you are.
Absolutely.
Right. Shoot, I can't even imagine I can't imagine that.
No.
It's done. It's gone. It's like, I'm so thankful.
Right. I'm in several groups where teachers are like, I hate my job. I want to get out. And I just post, get out and start your life. Right? Because life begins when you get out of that classroom, when you get out of that miserable place. So stop dreaming about getting out. Stop dreaming, and start doing it.
Absolutely.
Just get out and go.
Absolutely. I think if people really self-reflect, they're going to see something inside of themselves like, maybe I can do this. Right. Okay, then take that maybe and just try it.
That's it. Exactly. Try it.
Just try it.
If you're not sure, come chat with us. Like, we'd be happy to, just, and you don't even have to get on the air if you don't want to. Let's just go eat.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm always food, right? But let's go eat. Let's talk. Let's have coffee. And let us help you brainstorm on where you do start.
There we had a nurse that had been a nurse for a long time, extremely professional nurse. And she quit and went and cleaned houses. Now, I'm not saying that was her forever thing, but she needed that time to clear her brain, to decompress from the job that she'd been in before she could make her next move. And sometimes that's all we need. And I guarantee you she made more money doing that than she did nursing.
Exactly.
Which is crazy to think about.
Exactly.
But sometimes just doing something different and getting away, clearing your brain, and allowing God to talk to you, it's like, okay, so so just.
Well, I'll say I did the same thing. Like everybody knows I have a doctorate degree in education, right? And so the last year that I taught, I also worked at Joe's Crab Shack, right? And so I'm working all day and then working in the evenings, working on the weekends. I worked all summer. And what are you doing there? Like, why are you trying to manage a restaurant?
Right.
And I absolutely loved it, right? Yeah. I loved working with the people. It allowed me to clear my head, to stop thinking about education, to stop thinking about a mess I could not fix.
Right.
And no matter how much I prayed, no matter what I did, I couldn't fix it.
Right.
I absolutely could not.
Right.
And to even be able to say that, I wouldn't have been able to say that a few years ago, right? Or even a year ago. But then, God's allowing this other job where I'm helping a friend. Like, he needs people in there who can run this, who can take care of his people. I'm like, that's my job? Just take care of people? oh, I can do that, right?
Yeah.
And I loved it, and I learned about all these restaurant terms and cooking stuff and all these things. And some of them were funny. I made mistakes. Oh God, I made mistakes, right? But I also learned enough that, when I said one day, I'm like, man, I wonder if Jeff and I could just run this Rogue Chef thing together. What did I just say? I'm like, no, right? And I got the chills just now because I looked up at God, and I look back and I think, oh yeah, I remember saying that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that, right? And I do remember saying, I don't want this life. I don't want to run a restaurant, right? I don't want to be here 24/7. Like this is hard work,
right?
But taking care of these people is what I can do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so then I'm like, when we serve people, I take care of people.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus, my purpose changed. I'm taking care of people in education, but there's a system I'm fighting that I can no longer fight,
Right.
And then to know that I can still take care of people outside of education, right?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So, but that's a hard transition. So I don't tell anybody like, oh, go do that transition. But just say, like you're a nurse friend, you may go through this transition period.
Yeah.
And you may be doing a job, or you might be doing something that you're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this.
Right.
But there's a purpose. There's
Absolutely.
a reason. Keep going. Keep talking to God. Keep asking Him, what's my next step? Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was a guy who, and I can't remember what his business was, but I remember reading a story, and he decided he wanted to own a dessert shop.
Okay.
So he went and he worked for a company who made pies and all that kind of stuff. And he said in 6 months, what he realized was, I am not going to own a dessert shop. This is not what I want to do. But what he learned was he was watching how they managed it and how they ran that business. And he has a multi-million-dollar business because he took what he saw going on and he's like, this needs to be improved. This can be done better. And he started a company doing those things. Wow. He would not have known that if he hadn't gone in there and worked. He'd have just been owning his little bakery type of thing.
Absolutely.
Instead of that, he's a multimillionaire because he allowed himself to have that freedom. Let's go learn it. And then what he learned was completely what he didn't think he was going to learn. But yeah, I think sometimes we do need to take a step back and just let things happen and let's see what happens.
Absolutely. And to know that you learn more doing, doing,
yes,
than sitting in a classroom and being told. Like even sitting here listening to our podcast, we can say all these things all day long. Yeah. But until you get off your butt and start doing, you're not going to learn it either.
Yeah, right? That's right.
And so if doing means come in and talk to us, that's a doing. That's an action.
A doing. Right. Absolutely. Because we can learn from you just as much as you can learn from us.
Absolutely.
Probably I will learn more.
I always do.
I do too.
I always do. Like, oh, come in and talk with us. I want to learn everything you know.
I know.
And then just hearing people's story and knowing that where they came from and what they did even helps us because each of us have our own story and how we are to where we are now.
Yeah.
But 2 years from now, this is going to be our past.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to be like, look what I learned in Vegas. Look what we learned from talking to these people. And now look where we are now.
I know.
Right.
I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
I am too. I'm really excited.
I am too.
And I know I've said this before, but I would always say to God, like, God, if you just tell me what's going on, like, I'll be in. Like, give me a plan. I need a plan. I'm one of these type A people. You give me a plan, right? And I'm making the plan for everybody who's like, I'm not following your plan. Do you know what I mean? right. But if you need a plan, go right ahead. But one day I stopped to listen,
Yeah.
And God said, you wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you're right. You're right. Because to get me to Branson, I had to change from that job to a job in a small school, from a big school to a small school. I'm going to be a cheerleading coach. Like, what?
Right.
So if God would have said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, you're wrong. Right. And then if he'd say, you're going to leave education after 26 years and you're going to run your own business with your husband. Right. I'd be like, I don't think so. Because, we're going to be together 24/7. Like, I love him and all, but are you sure? Right. God's like, nope, we're doing this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe him. I absolutely would not believe him. And so whatever he tells me today might happen 2 years from now. I'm going to be like, yeah, that's nice, but here's my plan.
Right.
So God always has a different plan and a better plan.
Oh, my gosh. And thank goodness.
Thank
you, Lord, because my plan would, oh, my gosh, it would be bad.
No kidding.
It would be bad.
My plan was to keep teaching forever, right? And then I would be in that one classroom until I died, I guess. I mean, maybe I retire. I have no idea.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know either, right?
I think I would have died first.
I do too.
Probably on the job.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
then and then I might have made headlines. That would be my 15 seconds of fame.
There you go.
Yeah.
Teacher dies on their, while giving the exam or something.
I have no idea, but that's not how
Everyone made an A. Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't miss that, but I feel like I needed that in my life to get to where I am now.
Absolutely.
So just doing, and stop. Get about it and start doing it.
Yeah.
So you've inspired me to stop talking about this book thing, start doing it.
Yes.
Stop seeing if other people can help, just start doing it myself.
Yes.
So I'm going to pull some seconds out of my days this week, and I'm going to see what I do.
Yeah.
And I'll report back to you next week.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important too, having somebody to report to.
Like, what did you find out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll both do that. Okay. So, because you and I are both on the same page, we can do this.
Oh, heck yes.
So, yeah.
I wrote a 200-plus page dissertation.
Yeah.
I can write a book.
You got this.
That's right. And if AI is going to help us, because, again, that's a resource that we've learned about.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Let's go.
I'm actually really excited about this assignment.
Me too.
Well, we better come to an end. So,
oh, that's right. What'll be coming in here soon? Ladies, it's lunchtime.
Thank you so much for today and your time. And it is just really nice and refreshing to be able to know that I'm not in this alone. Other women are going through this.
Exactly.
And God has our back. And it's amazing to me how God has everybody's back in a different way.
That's right.
Depending on how people need him.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Look to him for help.
Yeah.
And, stop dreaming and start doing.
Start doing. We're going to do it today.
Let's do it.
All right.
Thank
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.